Hi everyone, in this video we will learn how to install Podman on Windows 11. Podman is a daemonless open source tool designed to find, run, build, share, and deploy applications using containers and container images. Containers enable developers to package applications with all their dependencies into a standardized unit, ensuring consistency across development, testing, and production environments. Podman's daemonless architecture simplifies process management and allows containers to run in their own isolated user space. Podman allows users to run containers rootlessly, which can be an advantage in a multi-user environment. First, we will need to install Windows Subsystem for Linux, also known as WSL, before we can install Podman. We must install WSL first because Podman Desktop depends on WSL's Linux kernel environment to run its rootless container engine on Windows. After we install WSL, we will install Podman Desktop. Please note, all the commands that I run in PowerShell are available on a script in GitHub, which is linked below. To install WSL, I am going to bring up PowerShell. I am going to run it as an administrator. We have our PowerShell terminal. From the Podman documentation site, we can see that Podman requires at least 6 GB of random access memory, or RAM. I am going to run the command displayed on the screen to check the computer's RAM. We can see from the output that this computer has about 8 GB of RAM. If you run the command and the number is less than the output displayed on the screen, you will not be able to run Docker Desktop on your computer. The next command I will run will enable Windows Subsystem for Linux. If WSL is enabled, you will get an output that the operation completed successfully. Next, I need to enable the virtual machine platform feature with the command displayed on the screen. If the feature is enabled, you will get an output that the operation completed successfully. In order for the features to be available, I need to restart my computer. I am going to run restart-computer within my PowerShell terminal. After my computer restarts, I am going to bring up PowerShell again as an administrator. After we have enabled WSL, we need to install it. The command on the screen installs WSL without a distribution. This is a minimal install, so we can have WSL just to access Podman Desktop. We can double check that WSL is correctly installed by running WSL --version in the PowerShell terminal. We can see that it is correctly installed, and we have our WSL version listed in the output. I am going to close out the PowerShell terminal, and I am going to bring up the Podman website in my browser. Please note I linked the website in the description below. When I click on the download button, I have two options. I can download Podman Desktop, which includes the graphical user interface and command line interface for Podman, or I can download Podman CLI, which only downloads the command line interface. I will download Podman Desktop. Once the installer completes downloading it, I will open it. We have the installer up. It asks if you want to install it just for the single user or multiple users. Since I only have the single user on this computer, I am going to choose the single user option. Once Podman Desktop finishes installing, I am going to click the Finish button and run Podman Desktop. When Podman Desktop first opens up, it prompts you to install the relevant extensions. The available options as of this recording include the Podman Engine, kubectl CLI, and Compose. I am only going to install the Podman Engine in this tutorial. I will uncheck the boxes for telemetry, kubectl, and Compose. If you plan on using these extensions, keep the boxes checked. I am going to press the Start Onboarding option, then next to install the Podman Engine. I am going to press Yes to install Podman. For the setup, we are asked if we want to use Windows Subsystem for Linux or Hyper-V to run Podman. I am going to choose Windows Subsystem for Linux. We get a notification that the Podman Engine has successfully installed. We are asked if we want Podman Engine to auto-start when Podman Desktop is opened. I would recommend having this as enabled. I'm going to press Next. We must now create a Podman machine. This is a virtual machine that Podman will use to run containers. First, we have the name of the Podman machine. I will leave the default value here. Next, we can specify the image path, which is optional. If you have a pre-built Podman machine image, you can add the path to the image here. If you leave it blank, Podman will download a default image from its repository. You can specify an image URL, which is also optional. You can give your Podman machine root privileges or create it without root privileges. The Podman machine's internal operating system runs as root by default, which is necessary for many container operations. If you disable root privileges, Podman will run in rootless mode inside the machine. This is more secure, but can have networking and permission limitations. Finally, we have the user mode networking option. User mode networking is a method where the Podman machine's network traffic is handled entirely by the user process without requiring administrative privileges. This is more secure, however, this can cause networking issues. I will leave it disabled. I am going to create the Podman machine and run it. I am going to press next. I am going to pull my first image. I am going to go to the images section by pressing on the images icon. We currently do not have any images. I am going to click on the pull your first image button. This will pull in the hello image from Quay.io. This image will verify that Podman Desktop and Podman Engine are running correctly. I will press the play button for the image, which will run a container. We will create a container from the hello image. At the top, we have basic, advanced, networking, and security options. Within the basic configurations, we can set a container name. We can also leave it blank, and Podman will generate a name for the container. The entry point is the executable Podman runs to start the container. You can override the image's default entry point here. Command supplies arguments to the entry point, or if no entry point override is set, you can specify the program to run. For the volume, you can allow your container to access files or directories on your local machine. You can set custom port mapping from the container's port to your local machine's port. We can also set environment variables, which are key value pairs passed into the container for configuration. You should avoid placing secrets here when possible. Let us start the container. The Hello World container will run briefly, then stop. Let us go to the log section. Let us zoom in. If the Hello container runs correctly, you will receive this output. That means that both Podman Desktop and Podman Engine are running correctly. Clicking on the Summary tab will give us some information on the container. I am going to select the container icon, and I am going to delete the Hello container since we are finished with it. In the final part of the tutorial, I will show you how you can run a container with the Podman CLI. I am going to bring up PowerShell, and I do not need to run it as an administrator to work with Podman CLI. Within the terminal, I am going to run the command podman info, which will confirm that Podman CLI is working correctly. Next, I will run podman run quay.io/podman/hello. This will run the hello container. From the output, we can see that we successfully ran the container with Podman CLI. Thanks everyone for watching. I hope that this video was helpful. If you want to learn more about Podman, I recommend checking out the Podman documentation site. If you found the video helpful, feel free to like and subscribe. You can also connect with me on LinkedIn, X, GitHub, Medium, and Odyssey. I also have a podcast called The Aspiring STEM Geek, which you can check out on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Audible, and iHeartRadio. Thanks again for watching, and happy coding.